All right. So you're still playing Dirt 3?
Yeah, it's ongoing. It's got DLC and more cars, more tracks, nonstop.
Well, I want to talk about cars and tracks and racing, but I actually want to talk about Need for Speed The Run.
All right.
What you think?
Did you see it at E3?
I only saw what they showed at the E3 press conference. I didn't get to play the demo. You did?
Yeah, I played the demo. We had them on the IGN live show, so we talked to them a bit more about it. A lot of what they were doing then was all about out of the car, how it's this big adventure, story-based, and you're going to have all these quick-time events out of the car. But it seems like they pulled back a little bit now, and they're like, wait, guys, you know, it's about the racing still.
They came to their senses.
Yeah, exactly. Which is good to see, because as much as you were playing racing and the level that was E3, it was very much like there's helicopters chasing you, like bullets coming down.
Yeah, it was more like an action movie sequence than something people were used to in a Need for Speed game. So it was really good to see them dial that back too, because I know maybe they didn't get the reaction they were expecting.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was different, and that's fair, but
I think that's probably the key they were trying to show off. It's different.
Yeah.
But it seems like now we're looking at just straight racing, you know, turbo button, drifting, like trying to get ahead of the pack.
Okay.
And I don't know, what do you think of what we saw?
I mean, it's interesting to me because it is this big cross-country race, and it sounds like everything's point-to-point races, which in my mind is a little different from Need for Speed, unless it's just been a while since I've played them. I was trying to think to myself, because I'm used to traditional racing where you're dealing with like a set number of laps and how many times you have to kind of go through that sort of grind. And it sounds like this is a much different type of grind, and it looked pretty good, which kind of surprised me as well. Arcadey, you know, and very well.
Arcadey.
Yeah, we're not dealing with a sim so much.
What they were talking about, though, is that it has more tracks, more road than the rest. Even if it is point-to-point, the sheer amount of territory they're trying to cover. And I think it's going to be that kind of like, okay, here's our snow level, here's our desert level, here's our city level.
Yep.
But that's kind of how the country works. So I think that was their setup for picking, you know, a cross-country race. Yeah, like you're saying, this one is very arcadey. I noticed when I was playing it, it's very much like you feel the back end slipping a lot. So it's very loose controls, which is, I think, going to come as a little bit of a surprise to people who might be expecting like more hot pursuit.
Yeah.
But again, this is coming from a different developer, and they're going for something different here because it's very much like, you know, mash the turbo, drift, and try not to run into walls, which I managed to do, or at least a couple fences, quite a few times in our short demo.
It could be worse than when I wiped out near the end. I had cleared like 9 out of 10 cars out of the benchmark that they wanted me to pass, and then I took that hill, and you saw it. I just came down wrong and completely wrecked. I'm glad they've got a rewind feature in there, but that seems to be really standard nowadays too.
I think most of them have it, and it's interesting because that takes something away from that aspect of like nailing the perfect run, you know, or getting the perfect time. And they were talking a lot about leaderboards and how it's bringing in autolog again. And to clarify, I had to ask them, like, what's it going to do with the on-foot stuff? Is there going to be like a fastest X button press? But it's all cars.
Oh, thank God. That would be a waste.
Absolutely. Footlog, I think. It's a new feature they got for some on-foot games.
But the autolog stuff is cool because, you know, if I'm playing on my friends list and you're playing on your account, I can see where you are, where you've progressed across the country as opposed to where I have. It kind of puts everything in perspective as far as this big race going 3,000 miles across country.
I do like how they've done that for the whole Need for Speed series. Like, autolog is an interesting step forward, a good one.
Yeah.
But I think he was saying too for leaderboards, like if you do use rewinds, it's going to make a notation on your time, so you know you didn't have the perfect run and just like knock it out of the park.
I like that, kind of like in baseball. And
exactly.
The asterisk on the 61. That's interesting. Okay, that's really cool.
So that should help balance the playing field. What I did notice is at the end of the track we saw, did you notice when you're in the air you can kind of control, like...
I saw a little bit of that.
I felt it a little bit, like I was trying to adjust, like to stay on the road at a certain point, which is funny because that's very arcade. Because you're not going to be like doing a real car and like, oh, come on back in, we're 4 wheels off.
It's a very Hollywood kind of thing to kind of throw in there, but I guess it fits with that vibe, as long as it's not too... If there's not a way to like just accidentally touch it and then all of a sudden it'll screw up that jump, I guess. But then again, I'm still trying to. I just came off the hill wrong when I screwed up my jump. I mean, it was horrible, crash and burn. That's what I get, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, they haven't showed us too much yet, but from seeing just the racing this time, I don't know. I had fun with it.
Yeah, I was actually surprised as well. And if anything, I'm definitely looking forward to see more. I mean, they mentioned cop battles will be in there and things like that. All right.
And it's interesting because, I mean, Shift 2, they're trying to get away from Need for Speed a little bit, like trying to get that balance of like simulation and more serious racers. Well, this is going like the other direction, like Hollywood, big budget, explosions, action scenes. So it'll be interesting to see, I guess, how it all comes together. All under that same banner with it going in so many different directions at once.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Well, I better let you get back to your stuff.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.